Now, straight talk. The Film Cynics on C-FAX 1070.
Welcome back to the Film Cynics on C-FAX 1070. Steve and Brian sitting on a Sunday afternoon talking movies, television, and pop culture. We'd love for you to join us in our conversation. You can just sit and listen on your radio, or you can give us a call at 250-386-1161 or star 1070 on your cell. Or even better, come and visit our website, thefilmcynics.com. We've got it nice and tidy for you. We've even turned down the bed. So come on and join us.
It's really comfy once you stay there.
It is so comfy. We got mints on the pillows and everything.
I know, it's delicious.
We're going to get right into a DVD review as we speak. Let's do it.
Who wants a DVD review?
Yeah. So this week we're doing Brothers, which is the remake of Broder, the Danish film. And now it's coming out on Tuesday from our friends at Alliance Films. And it is a great ensemble cast. We've got Tobey Maguire, Jake Gyllenhaal, Natalie Portman. There's even more people in there of all kinds of talents.
Clifton Collins Jr., Sam Shepard, Carey Mulligan is in it for a scene or two as the wife of one of the guys, which is kind of interesting now if she's nominated for Academy Award.
Yeah.
Don't watch the movie because she's in it, because she's only in it for 5 minutes.
Blink and you'll miss it.
But having said that, it's a really well casted and well shot and really well acted movie.
Absolutely.
It's the story of two brothers, one of them played by Tobey Maguire, who's an army sergeant, and he's going to get shipped off to Afghanistan again. But before he does that, he goes and gets his brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, out of jail, who's just being released, and he's coming back to town.
He's actually a captain now, I think of it.
He was a captain by the end. Anyways, so Jake Gyllenhaal is released from prison, and him and Tobey sort of hang out for a day, and then Tobey gets shipped off, and Jake Gyllenhaal starts hanging around with Tobey Maguire's wife, played by Natalie Portman, in his absence, his prolonged absence, because he gets captured when he's in Afghanistan. That's not really a spoiler. It was in the trailers.
Well, yeah, so he's presumed dead, but he's actually captured.
Yes. And so Jake Gyllenhaal becomes sort of the father figure to his kids, and maybe things happen between him and the wife, maybe they don't. And by the end, Tobey Maguire comes back, and they have some conflict.
Yeah, some of the things that he sees and does when he's being held captive in Afghanistan kind of make him a little cuckoo.
Yes, rightfully so.
And there is obviously a connection that develops between Jake and Natalie while he's gone. But, I mean... well, hey, I don't want to get too much into it, but there's all kinds of connections that are going on throughout this.
The thing that bothered me about this film, well, one of the things, number one, was that it's called Brothers, and I never really got the sense that these two guys were brothers or that they had any real connection other than that we were told they were brothers, and then he went and picked him up from jail, and he's like, "You're my brother, I love you," sort of thing. There wasn't enough interaction between them to establish them as any sort of thing other than characters in a movie. Well,
yeah, because really it becomes all about suspicion, right? Eventually, Sam, played by Tobey, he comes back from Afghanistan, and he's sort of seeing what's going on. He's suspicious. I mean, he's really paranoid from his experience in Afghanistan, but he comes back and he thinks something's going on. But it's clear that there is chemistry that's going on between Tommy and the wife Grace. Is it happening? Is it for real? And we needed to see Sam forgive Tommy earlier for past transgressions more, so that it could mean more that he's not forgiving him for something that never actually even happened. And so, yeah, that you're right. That fraternity, that brotherly love, it's not clearly established off the top of this movie.
And the other thing about this movie that really bugged me after the fact is that I didn't know going into it, is that it's a remake of a Danish film from 2005 called Broder. And they have this whole documentary on the DVD about how they took this Danish film and made it an American film. And they're trying to say, how much they really changed it, and it's not really just a recreation. And you start watching it, and they're cutting back and forth, and it is pretty much an exact recreation of the Danish film, other than they changed their names and put them in Minnesota and sent them to Afghanistan, even though I think the Danish guy went to Afghanistan. That didn't even change. Everything else seemed to happen, scene for scene. I'm like, why do we need to make these movies again? Why can't we just accept the fact that this was a really great Danish film that was made and watch that one and enjoy it, instead of making what, in my mind, is probably a lesser American version?
Yeah, it was strange. It was also strange they got Jim Sheridan to do it. Jim Sheridan is a great director. He's done some incredible films.
He states in the documentary, he's like, "I've never done a remake." I said, "Might as well do one." That was just his rationale for doing it.
Why not?
I've never remade someone's movie, so I might as well try it. That's why they got him. And it's
that does not sound like a good enough
everyone was talking about how great the American one is, and they're like, "Oh, it's such a good interpretation." I'm like, "Well, no, there's no original thought to me when you remake someone else's movie.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Now, with this movie, what I noticed is, like, what's at the crux of why there's so much tension? And there is. Like, what this movie does incredibly well is generate tension. A whole bunch of, like, the mood that overhangs everything is just so intense. Mm-hmm. But it can't pull the trigger in the end because like the explanation for why the tension is there, it does not cross over culturally. I don't think. Like, I mean, I was trying to figure out, if everybody did such a great job, the performances were all great, the direction was great, the script was very good. So why didn't I like it? It's because that didn't translate culturally properly. That all these things that are bottled up in all these characters, all they would have had to do was just say something, talk about it, and it could have all been dispelled. And so that's what we do in America. Like, I mean, in North America, people like to talk. People like to talk about themselves all the time. They love to get stuff off their chest, and that's not how it works in Denmark, I assume. It's just that sort of European reservedness that doesn't translate over, and that's why it seems like there was so much angst that was there that could have easily been dispelled if somebody had just decided to open up a little bit.
Yes, all you got to do is talk to your partner and explain to them why you're upset, and and things would happen. But everyone just sort of looks at each other and is sad, and don't talk to him because he just got back from Afghanistan and he's kind of sensitive about it or whatever. But no, just ask him a question. Like, just sometimes you have to push people out of their shells in order to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So this movie, luckily, is not really that tragic in the end as it could have been, as I was hoping it was going to be. I was expecting it to be a lot worse.
I think everybody had an assumption based on the trailer that they saw. They had an assumption of where this movie was going to go.
And I was disappointed it didn't go there.
It didn't actually go there. Now, I mean, in all fairness, they do talk about that kind of thing in the movie. During one of the dinner scenes, Tommy brings this new girl to the dinner, and she starts talking about how people get in therapy. And I don't know if it actually came from the original, but that sort of in there is the talking about how it really is in the United States. People need to see a therapist about everything. They stub their toe, I need therapy.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was really... That seemed like the elephant in the room more than anything. Is like, okay, well, if that's the case, why aren't any of these people talking about their problems?
Because they're not actually American; they're actually Danish.
Yes,
being transplanted to Minnesota to play these parts in this movie.
They were Danish pod people.
It just didn't work as an American story for me.
Yeah,
I loved the performances. I thought everyone was great. The direction was great. It looked good. The detailing, like shooting in the winter. That's not going to be fun, but they did it.
Yeah.
Every scene, there's snow everywhere, so you know it was not fake, or maybe it is. They did a great job. Like, that's a lot of work to pull off a winter look with authenticity. So that part I loved, but I just didn't have any emotional connection to the story, or it didn't resonate with me at all. I was expecting to possibly be in tears by the end of it. But
me too.
What I saw with the trailer, and I have a younger brother, you have brothers, we should be able to connect with this.
Yeah, and I thought I would.
Yeah, and I didn't. Yeah, me too. And nothing.
I thought I'd come out of it having to call my brother and say, Pat, Phil, I miss you guys.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, I don't miss you at all, Dave.
And I don't miss you guys at all. Okay, well, anyways, we're going to take a break. Well, actually, before we take a break, let's rate this thing. So what do you give it?
I'm giving it a soft renter.
Soft renter. So maybe like rent it from the library for free?
Yes, or like if you get a deal. Like I don't think it's a must-see. Great performances. Interesting, but not necessarily like a go out and get it on Tuesday.
Okay, I'm saying definitely give it a rent because I mean, like the performances are solid from everybody. So I mean, you'll get something out of it. So double renter, softer from Brian, harder from Steve. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Dancing with the Stars. Can't wait.